Hello Libra, thank you for joining us. This is Rosemary coming to you from ANSARA Angels Ave. This Angelscope is for both Libra Sun and Libra Moon. These are your November 2014 Christian Angel Answers from your angel Zuriel, who resides over Libra and Cardinal Air. Libra leaves October behind, hoping against what seems against all hope. Jack Frost, Santa and Mrs. Claus, Dasher, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen should give Rudolph a chance by December, we hope. Before we continue with what's going on with the Beaver Moon, the month of November, we have some information here. We have one of our subscribers sent us an email. It's Hanover 1st 314. Sent us an email asking us a question, and we've decided that people who have entered our Angel Answer contests and either won or didn't win, people we have a bit of a email relationship with, can send, or if we know them by phone, if we've done readings for them, and we know they're reasonable people, we are happy to, after we secure your permission, read these on air and go ahead and answer your question. So if you want your questions answered, go ahead and send them in to Rosemary at readingsbyrosemary.com, and we can consider your question and its suitability for to be read on air. Okay. So Hanover 1st 314 asks, I'm a Libra, and my boyfriend is a Capricorn, Rosemary. We don't really see eye to eye on several things, but we're in love. Do you think it will last? Okay, so let me go ahead and I've considered this, and because you mentioned you're a Libra, we've consulted Zuriel. And Zuriel has given us a transmission that basically, and I paraphrase because it comes out not in angelic script, but basically, when we transcribe it, it comes out in angelic script. But basically, then we transliterate it to English, and then, or Latin, and then we try to make it understandable, yes? It's a big task. But what Zuriel says is that your Capricorn boyfriend is extremely psychic, and you have been trying to pull the wool over your boyfriend's eyes. Hanover 1st 314. And he's aware of what you're doing, because once again, Capricorns are extremely psychic. And he also requires somebody to be able to provide not just romantic commitment, including marriage, but also to secure a vocation, and to secure a vocation that you can both be involved in. Because this boyfriend of yours, Uriel, saying, really is looking for someone with, that there's a complete experience. Some people might call it a complete package. It's not really about, some people say looking good on paper. It's not really about that. It's about, Uriel says, being able to provide in all areas. You would have to be a complete provider for this individual, and you would have to accept this individual wants you to ask him to marry you, and you may feel it's inappropriate for your to ask your boyfriend to marry you, but that's what you need to do. And if you worry about rejection, that's not an issue, because when you're serious, there will not be a rejection. That's what Zuriel wants you to know. Hanover 1st, 3:14. Okay. That's angel transmission, just came right through it. We had tried to write down what Zuriel was saying, but the other day when we got this, but it no longer applies, so we got the new information just now that came through. Okay, it's one needs to drink water after one allows the angel to speak through. When higher deities like Jesus Christ speak through, one requires water and usually something that contains some kind of sugar to be able to properly recover. The cells have to recover. We can continue here. Well, people have asked us, don't we have a fan and an air conditioner? And we do have both, but we've got another fan. We got it at Pier 1 Imports. Very inexpensive, very lovely. Okay. Now, continuing. Now, after you consider how you're going to handle this holiday season with all the aforementioned God forms and egregores, you're going to want to take full benefit from the authority and fascination of the Beaver Moon on the 6th of November. Now we're reading what we've transcribed from Zuriel for you, Libra, this month, for all Libras. Now, busy little beavers are building their dams up in the extreme regions with much anticipation of the freezing, wintry snow and ice. Native Americans, true to their autumn rituals, set beaver traps in the 11th month, marked by the Latin word, revealing the true secret number of this month, which is 9, like the novena, 9, it's just like in October, octa means 8, but it's the 10th month. So, and just like we have some people that have a metric system and some people that use a system based on 12, not 10. We measured a king's foot once, and that was it. This discrepancy has to always stand. It's the twin pillars of Joachim and Boaz. It's the sun and the moon. It's gold and silver. It's one has to be a little less than the other one so it can be exalted. Now, this also provides a way for creation to exist, because without it, there can be no creation. Which is it correct? Is it 9 or is it 11? And we'll continue with the transmission here from Zuriel. Zuriel saying, secrets flourish and unfurl with the scales forever seeking which is correct, 9 or 11 for this month. Ever seeking between two numbers and the double mind of the bicameral universe, where the essence of the soul resides within the black hole of time. Okay. Now, this allows one to understand that a dual nature with a doubting mind is essential to create the Mobius strip of creation. Otherwise, how can anything exist? So all possibilities, every single possible outcome needs to be represented. Because it's represented mathematically and it's represented in physics, it has to also be represented physically somewhere in some dimension. So you're better off representing it in a dimension where healing is easier, like a dimension where there's a lot of light, rather than in a dimension where there's less light and more darkness, and it takes longer for things to heal. So better to have, put your, if you feel resentments towards people, that's not healthy. The author Louise Hay says resentment can cause various diseases that are chronic and very horrible. So what you want to do is you want to reduce your resentment in your body by at least putting it into a song, or putting it into a drawing, or putting it, draw something. It doesn't have to be great. Just get it out in some kind of artistic drawing or musical. Get it out in a musical form. Write a poem or just journal, but get it out. Otherwise, the resentment is going to cause a lot of bad things to happen. You can read Louise Hay's book, Heal Your Body. That would be very helpful. It's a very good book. Continuing with Zuriel's transmission. This information cannot be lost, no matter what Hawking says about the matter, and is ever spewed from the circulating, swarming, luminous light, temporarily chained within the depths of the darkness at the center of the galaxy, where the fire letters are of Yud He Vav He, where at the center of the universe is Yud He Shin Vav He. That's why Jesus Christ, the Son of the Father, at the center of the galaxy, is the King of the universe, because he's the Son. Father's in the center of the galaxy, and we have Jesus Christ is in the center of the universe, one darkness with fire letters, the other one frozen white light. Then we have, in the earth, is the God from which all things spring forth, the God that the Buddhists worship. This is Ta Han Sohan. Tahan Sohan is the primary God, because things don't go from out in, it comes from and blossoms out. So, like Christ is the fruit of the tree of the universe when we have all the branches. And then the God that sits in the center of the galaxy was 4 fire letters, that, that's like Jehovah or Yahweh. And then we have, I'm having to learn this name myself, Tahan Sohan, the Buddhist deity at the center of the earth, from which all things sprung and spring forth. Now, at the center of the earth. Continuing with Zuriel's transmission, the center of the universe is where there is found the true God, who is the prime consciousness and prime light. We are all shards sprung from when the world soul was shattered. As we bring this world soul back together again, we become God again, not in ourselves, but rather in our relationship to each other, our communion, and our common miracles, bestowing ever gifting from a limitless light. Let there be light, fiat lux. Here is found the light in the barren womb of the stony tomb of Lilith. Here is the spark of light formed cleanly and sternly into an entire new being. It happens in death. Resurrection happens in death, where things are made pure and clean and all the corruption is taken from you. If you can get rid of the reincarnating ego, and if you can get rid of the urge to reincarnate that ego, then the stony tomb will suck all the corruption out of you, and your body will be completely purified for the next life. Like, why are corpses so gross? They're gross because all the corruption has been sucked out, and it's like an old skin that comes off, and then what's new is going to go to the next realm in the world to come. Now, those who choose to be cremated like a Viking warrior, like the great Viking warriors and the great Greek warriors, these people will reincarnate, and they will reincarnate to great honor. So that's what's going on with all of those things. Okay, continuing with the transmission. Going back to the beaver moon and what's going on with the animals. Now is the time for capturing beavers in sturdy traps before the wetlands freeze over. After all, Libra, we must get our winter furs supplied before the freeze sets into the trunks of the potent, unwelcoming trees, yearning to be chopped down for Christmas celebrations. Prime Creator exalts the planet Mercury in November, and the scales will feel the effects of Gemini the twins and Virgo the Virgin, influencing your mental capabilities over the birth of the sun. From the house of Libra, bearing its seed, bringing to fruition the 13th rune stone seed Iwas within the house of Scorpio. Okay. The reason Mercury influences Virgo and Gemini is because Mercury influences Gemini and Virgo. That's just one of the things. Those are two astrological signs that Mercury rules over. Now, in Christian astrology, we stick to the 7 ancient planets most of the time. Okay. Continuing with the transmission from Zuriel. The runestone of Iwas brings the luck of the princess, trapped in the castle of the king, to the making of golden thread from simple straw, just like John Dee and Edward Kelly. This luck penetrates through the portal of the green sun of Vril, remembering the Yggdrasil seed of the world tree genetic code, showing the force of the unity of life and death, held in the clutches of the sharpened claws of Lilith. Those sure of eye and hand allows and lands arrows shot from bow into the very throat of the game boar where sights are lovingly set. For we must love our prey if we are to capture it for our sacrifice at the Mabon feast. Now, this goes with a lot of ancient rituals, even Thanksgiving, where you kill a turkey that you've adopted as your pet. It's going to become more and more necessary. That's why they make people eat goldfish in the hazing of the fraternities, because you have to care for something and you have to kill it and eat it. Whether it's a lamb or turkey or whatnot, that's what needs to be done, because that goes with ancient laws out of, the ancient Levitical laws and things like that. It comes from those ancient books. Now, continuing, even in a bleak, frozen wilderness, the strong and sharp can hunt and bring to final target any game allowing family and kin to feast the delight of the 8th runestone seed of Wunjo, where the scales happiness is again found in great amounts of information and awe-inspiring crowds. Love matters come together for those prepared with presents for family, lovers, and associates alike. So make sure before you try to get people to cozy up with you for whatever, that you make sure that you have a lot to offer them. If you don't have any money, give them your time. One needs to make sure they give at this time. The spirit of sharing and sharing alike in November are unwitting victims of second guessing due to the aforementioned exaltation of the planet Mercury, giving rise to logic over desire and equality over option. again, Mercury's exalted in November. So this is why, you know, the mind is going to come into play. And those who have a lot of associations with Mercury and Gemini and Virgo, they're going to really do well in November. So don't get upset, Libra. You know, these people are going to do well. You're an air sign, so that'll help you, because air signs use the mind quite a bit. Continuing with Zodiac's transmission, would-be lovers and saviors are seeking much advice in November from those who can see clearly through the storm, finding a way through and out of devastating circumstance and contemptuous situations. Luck is made available by the gods, and the mighty Zeus releases Poseidon from his watery dungeon, bidding Hades to release the bulls of the house of Taurus cleansed by the fires of 7 months past. The mighty seed of the runestone Fehu races forward and charges the scales in a frenzied stampede of like-minded group. Opportunity is knocking, and there is always a way through the storm clouds brewing steadily from the fires of war and the promise of glory. Remember, nobody really feels good without war because they feel they have no opportunity. That's why they want war. Because people want opportunity, they want a chance to make a name for themselves, they want a chance to have something, they want a chance to gather in a lot of property and monies. You know, they want to get a piece of the pie. Just make sure the piece of the pie you're getting hasn't been cursed by people who previously salted the earth. Continuing with Zodiac's transmission, November is a good time to remember that although money can buy the frills of love, it cannot buy the thing in and of itself, for that is attained with deed and cooperation, but risked by much friendship, camaraderie, and eons of time. The scales may think that it is essential to have choice of loves, always and everlastingly without end, leading to much freedom and contentment. You will find quite the contrary to be true, nevertheless, Libra. If true love is what you need, then you must make the choice you know will bring you just that. All things are born of their kind, so whatever you are choosing will bring you exactly that choice, nothing more and nothing less. People are what they are, of course. And although some wiggle room is found in all life when exposed to enough light, systems are set into place very early on in life, as you well know, Libra. Money matters prove to be orderly in November, Libra. The balance of the scales is just and upright. Justice is being served this month when it comes to money and financial matters. And the money you have awaited for a seeming eternity has now arrived. Business as usual is always preferable. But new ideas and new ways of doing things undermine the will of those who want things the way they used to be. People who want a little more kabuki theater. It's a brave new world where justice and compassion find their way back into the grand scheme of things. It's no longer a world in this age of Aquarius run by the enablers, but is, thank goodness, a new form of the old world, where an eye costs an eye and a tooth costs a tooth for all beings. There is no longer a need to sacrifice the blameless. The new eon, now firmly in place, calls in the sacrifice of the guilty. For why should the innocent lambs, like Jesus, be sacrificed? Why should not Judas Iscariot be held responsible instead for his disloyalty and duplicity? They say, no one says life is fair. But Libra, begs to differ. Life should be fair, and it will be if I have anything to say about it. Over the ages, human persons have tried to make some sense of things. They have attempted to understand each other's behavioral attitudes, modifying the patterns to the end of commerce devoid of love. All other creatures in the universe, created by the Praemonstratrix, in cooperation with the Prime Exalter, are prone to the irrational behavior of love, which of course has no logic put to it. Rather, this is an overrun plagued by pathological symptoms of ludicrous gropings in the vain attempt to reach a higher state of mind as well as body. The amorphous bodies are unwilling and unable to reach states of abundant altars due to their inability to congeal into the alchemical wedding of spirit and matter. When those who do business, this is important, Libra, when those who do business are lucid and clear intentioned, complete cohesiveness between you and your money, yourself and your business, your intention and your reality become one and the same, where the work of the scales is in constant similitude with the martial aspects of a brutal mind. The fervent, unstoppable will meets the immovable object of trade and barter, carving out a piece of mind stuff in a cookie-cutter fashion that is just the right size and shape for your vessel of intention to bring you the most perfect and delightful answer to your dreams, Libra. This brings us to the runestone seed of Sowilo, that again is going in the exact opposite direction you would normally have it proceed, as it seems, to your ego, that reincarnating ego. This is due to God loves you, a God loves you milieu, plus lack of observation equals everything is free, is it not? Hope beyond all hope equation, used by the scales to study the behavior of all creatures, then employing a subsequent attempt to absorb the proverbial bullet, so that both the balance of the scales and those so innocently harmed are not tripped up. And you don't want that bullet to hit one of the sides of the scales and make it unbalanced, now would you? This is quite necessary to forgo any conclusions that the will here discusses in any way malleable to anything other than the planetary influences set in motion by the powers of the Prime Creatrix and Prime Creator who exist in the shadow of the Prime Exalter and the Prime Exaltrix. So if the scales are thinking we should hit the other side of the scale, you know, we're weighing the heart against the feather to even it out in a destructive form, this is where you're going to have to rearrange your thinking this month in November, Libra. Things are going to not go so well for you. What you need to do is understand that this Romeo and Juliet situation, this Joachim and Boaz situation, this gold and silver situation, these situations, just like hunting for that, is it 9 or is it 11? Is it 10 or is it 8? Is it 12 or is it 10? That's the seeker, seeking. It's the Mobius strip. If you don't have that, you have no reality. You cannot enjoy anything, and you cannot be conscious. So there has to always be this offset. Now, if you want to elevate as is going to happen anyway, they say don't stand in hell's way. But Zuriel wants to tell you don't stand in heaven's way, because heaven will have its way with hell. And perhaps what has been tall will be brought down, and what's been brought down will be raised up. And someday when you understand that healing is more important than harming, you'll do well. Because you only feel that way that you have to overcome people because you're scared. Once you stop being frightened, you learn how to love people properly, and you stop resenting, that won't be a problem for you. Continuing with Zuriel's transmission. Health matters are exhilarating, if not wobbly, for the scales in November. The runestone seed number 1 of Fehu rushes towards the allocation of newfound freedom bestowed from the reserves of biotech. Biotech, ready for those who would grab the holographic ring of transhumanism. If Virgin America Airlines can fly the upper echelons to the moon and beyond, and they do, then why not give those who remain on planet a new toy, such as holographic entertainment? So holographic entertainment's on its way. That's why everybody feels so scared right now and so put upon. Everybody feels like something's coming at them and they have to defend themselves. That's because holographic entertainment is here. They're trying to introduce it without people killing each other. That's what's going on. By the same token, physicians can now begin to rival nature by mimicking her so well. Those in need of true healing of body and brain can gain just that. Miracles can be attained by simple, unrelenting faith in divine providence, or it can be gotten by the provisions of the mind of man. Humans have come to Earth to combine the DNA of Cain and Abel to deliver a new faith and religion to humankind, where both consciousness called soul and purpose called spirit is found infused inseparably into matter, granting immortality to those who desire and merit such a state of being. You merit it if you desire it. If you desire it, you merit it. If you attain it, it's no longer forbidden. But you have to have the vessels built to be able to attain. Now, this is very important. Consciousness called soul and purpose called spirit. It's very important. Continuing. The scales will find that the entire month of November is very exciting. Very exciting indeed. As as a result of new fervor and going for it. Enjoy the turkey, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce. And don't forget the pumpkin pie for your health, vitality, vim and vigor. Be wise, be well, be all you are meant to be, Libra. Your divine tone of we balance brings life anew for the self and others this November at the Thanksgiving seasonal gatherings. Thank you for joining us, Libra, and join us again next month.